In this video, we will be graphing systems of linear inequalities. So this is actually going to be very similar to something you've seen before. The only difference is that we are going to combine several things into one. So previously we graphed one inequality, now we're going to just do two or more at once. So just a little recap. First thing we're going to do, we are going to start with y is less than or equal to 3x plus 2. I'm going to graph this using what I know about graphing equations. So if you remember, with y equals mx plus b, my m is my slope, which in this case is going to be 3. And I'm going to write that over 1. My b, which is my y-intercept, in this case will be 2. So the next important thing I need to know on this one is that I have because it is less than or equal to, that means I'm going to have a solid line. The other important thing is that I have y is less than or equal to. That means I'm going to shade below the line. So let's go ahead and do this one. I start by drawing my y-intercept, which is at 2, and I draw my point there. From there, I know my slope is 3 over 1, so I'm going to go up 3, right 1, and that will give me my second point. Then I know it's a solid line, so I'm going to draw a solid line through there. The last thing I need to do is shade below this line. So that's the first half. Now I need to do the same thing with my second inequality. So in this one, my slope is the number with the x, which if you want, you can put a 1 in there, and it's going to be -1, which I'll put over 1. My y-intercept is going to be 4. Since I have greater than, it will be a dotted or a dashed line, and since this y is greater than, it is going to be shaded above. So I'm going to start by drawing my y-intercept, which is at 4. Then I'm going to do my slope by going down 1, right 1. And from there, I'm going to draw my dashed line. So the last thing I know is that I have to shade above this line, so that means I'm going to shade right here. Now I'm not 100% done. The reason I'm not 100% done is because I actually need to find my solution area. And in this case, my solution is everywhere where the two colors overlap. So I have pink, I have yellow, everywhere that I have both of those is going to be my answer. So I'm going to go ahead and shade both of those in. If you want, when you're doing these in class and on a quiz or something, you can feel free to use highlighters to shade it. So my answer for this one is everything in orange. So for number 2, it has a similar situation. The only difference is that I need to solve for y first. So I have x plus y is greater than -3. I'm going to move over my x, which gives me y is greater than -3 minus x. Now, my slope, once again, is the number with the x, and feel free to add a 1 in front of there. It's going to be -1, and I'm going to write that over 1. My y-intercept is going to be -3. Since I have y is greater than, that tells me two things. That tells me I have a dotted or dashed line, and that also tells me that I'm going to shade above. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my y-intercept at -3. I go down 1, right 1. So then I'm going to draw my dashed line. And I'm going to shade above. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. If you want to pause and do it on your own, you can. So for this one, I start by solving my equation for y. And I'm going to do that by adding 6x to both sides, which gives me y is less than 6x plus 1 or 1 plus 6x. So my slope is going to be 6. or 6 over 1. My y-intercept is just 1. I have y is less than, which means I have a dotted line, and I'm going to shade below. So I'm going to start with my y-intercept at 1. 6 over 1 means I go up 6 over 1, I go right 1, and I'm going to draw my dotted line from there. Then I'm going to shade below, which is going to be everywhere down here. It looks more like I'm to the right of that, but it is going to actually be below. So finally, my actual answer is going to be everywhere where the blue area and the pink area intersect. So that means it's going to be everywhere. I'm going to do it in purple, everywhere right here. And that part is my actual answer. So that's all I have to do for that one. So one more problem. For the first one, I have y is less than 2. You may or may not remember this, but this is actually a horizontal line. And it's going to be a horizontal line at 2. The other thing is that because we have less than, y is less than, we are going to shade below. And we are going to have a dotted or dashed line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up on the y-axis to 2, draw my dotted horizontal line, and then I'm going to shade below. So then my next one, I have y is greater than or equal to x. For that one, I am going to, first of all, if it makes you more comfortable, you can write 1x. The other thing you can also do is write plus 0. So you'll notice that we don't have a y-intercept listed. That doesn't mean there isn't one. It just means that our y-intercept is equal to 0. And also our slope is equal to 1, or you can write it as 1 over 1. I also know, since this y is greater than or equal to, that I have a solid line, and I'm going to shade above. So I'm going to draw my line through the origin. You'll notice I did this one very quickly because I know that that something with a y-intercept is 0 and a slope of 1 over 1 just goes through the origin and goes up 1 over 1. From there, I'm going to shade above. And the last thing I need to do is specify where my solution area is. So I'm going to do it in purple, and it's going to be right here.